hear my voice, welcome to the party. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the MOMATRICIAN. That's my right there, that one. But that's not the one in the LGBTQ plus community. That's just the one whose picture made the cut. So yes, welcome, Free Your Mind. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I finally have a guest. The last 2 days I've had pretend guests. I've just kind of put them in. I said, just go in and just act natural. But not today. Today I have my guest. So let me see, your gay dance teacher. It doesn't get any more out than that. Oh. Yes. And I already love you. And I read a little bit about your in the little sign up. I was like, oh. So thank you for signing up. So real quick, this show is called the Pride Corner. That corner right there. Okay. It is for queer folk, allies, and even a couple of homophobes. Why not? Okay. So if you don't like the title, if you can't take the heat, there's the door. Okay, I'm not playing right there. Okay, I'm not playing. The rest of you, welcome. So get your water, tag your friends, take a second and go to the arrow at the bottom right of your screen and tag your friends and invite your friends. Let's make it a nice party. So, but before we start, I'm going to give a word to the sponsors, okay? Me. So this is my most recent book. It's called The Warrior Women Project. That's me. Pow. Okay? So this is an anthology of 22 immigrant women because we can. So we're telling our stories about immigration. It's available everywhere good books are sold. It's a coffee table book. It's got pictures. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Fabulous. Ooh.
Yes. Yes, very nice. So grab a copy. This is my third book. How to teach your children about racism. Pow. So all the Karens out there, this one's for you. This bud's for you. You get a book and you get a book. Also available on Amazon and everywhere else good books are sold. My best work yet. My second book. It's about youth suicide and depression and struggling. And yes, there's an LGBTQ plus child in there that's loosely based on my own offspring. You got to read it to find out. Grab a copy, also available on Amazon and anywhere good books are sold. And mi primero, my first one. That's my baby, the same baby over there. Not my LGBTQ plus baby, just the baby that was most supportive when I was writing the book. It was a case of Chicken Little. I was like, guys, I want to write a book. Yeah, right, Mom. Yeah, right, Mom. You don't mean it, Mom. And this was like, really, Mom? That's so nice. And so, boom, made the cut. So that's how I roll in my house. But anyways, I'm a pediatrician about to retire, and I'm going to be focusing all of this colorful energy into coaching parents of LGBTQ plus youth because somebody has to do it, okay? So that we can accept our kids and our kids stop jumping. And you know what I mean when I say jumping, because acceptance is primary and natural, and that's not the word. I'm looking for something primal. That's the word, primal. The need for acceptance is primal. And so we want to accept our children as they are with all the color. Huh? Yes. Yes. And there's nothing you can do about it because it's my show. So yes. Somebody has to do it. Somebody said yes.
Susie, that's my friend Susie. Hey, Susie.
Yes, Susie Media. I love you, Susie Q. Fantastic. Yes, somebody has to do it, honey. So here's what you got to do, Susie and your friends. Follow me. Ask Dr. Lulu. Spell out the word doctor right there. Boom. Follow me so that you can join us for this beautiful show of color every single day. I was going to do it only through the month of June for Pride Month, but I said to myself, why do for 1 month when you can do it for 12 months? So boom! Yes! Pow! Yes! Yes! Jab, kill homophobia, honey. Come here. Pow! So, welcome to my show. She's going to be like, what did she drink? Nothing! I don't need to drink anything. I have a natural high. Yes! You don't need any coffee with all this. What's going to happen if you added coffee to this? Ooh. So, anyways, let's get the party started. So if you can hear my voice, take 1 second and invite your friends. Tell them there's a crazy lady. There's a crazy lady and she's talking about what? Queer folk? Yes, somebody has to do it. So I'm joined today by the one, the only gay teacher, music or dance? Wait.
Gay dance teacher.
Dance teacher. Yes, yes. And I love your hair. So when I was in 2018, for my New Year resolution, I decided I was going to compliment women more. Because women, generally, we don't get enough compliments. 1, 2, we don't know how to handle when we do get complimented. So I was like, I'm going to do that more and see if I can just get us to smile a little bit more and see each other a little bit more. So thank you for inviting your friends. The show is called The Pride Corner. Let's get the show on the road. So, first question.
I'm ready.
Tell me something that most people don't know about you. Go!
Okay. Well, I actually was thinking about this because you said you're a commander in the Air Force, yes? I was an 03 in the Navy. So a lot of people don't know that.
05, baby.
See, ma'am? Due respect.
Yes, fantastic.
But yes, I'm a veteran, and one thing that people don't often know is that a lot of trans people are in the military. People think like, oh wait, the military is super transphobic. How are we supposed to be like, I wouldn't expect a lot of trans people to be there, but trans people are twice as likely to have military service than cis people. Very, very common.
I never even knew that. Never heard about it. Never thought about it. Never knew about it. What? That's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more? Can you tell us why?
Well, I have a few little like personal anecdotal theories.
Okay, let's have it.
One of them is that for trans people who are trying to feel affirmed in the gender expression that maybe they can't express out loud, right? So I'm talking about trans men who are joining the military because it's a masculine environment, but maybe they aren't able to transition yet. Well, they're still able to find that masculinity. Or the flip side is for people who don't want to be or are looking for a validation. I'm talking about trans women now who feel like they need to have shame or be repressed around their femininity. Sometimes going into the military is a way to cover up, to mask that with a masculine occupation. So that's the only kind of theories that I have a little bit about it, but the military does have a lot of trans people in it. We're just not always seen.
Wow, that is so powerful. I almost want to just stop and just take a minute and reset the room. This is so good. So the show is called The Pride Corner. That's my little Pride Corner right there. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the MOMATRICIAN. Welcome to the party, Courtney Starks, my new brother, Anthony Cadavid. Buenas tardes. Ask me, Ashby, and Smee, Getty Art, and everybody else who's joined us. The show is for you, for me, for us all. Somebody needs to talk about all of this stuff that most people don't want to talk about. Why not me? And so thank you so much for that beautiful intro. I had no idea that many trans people were in the military. This is news to me. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we're all about acceptance. We should not put people in boxes. We should stop already with people putting people in boxes. And so my second question is, you are coming into the show to talk about queer folk. Why did you decide to do this? Why?
Oh, well, I'm really excited to talk to you, Dr. Lulu, because as somebody who's trans and non-binary, it's extremely hard to find medical care that's LGBT inclusive, right? I've struggled with this. For so many trans people, we don't know who to trust. We don't know if we're going to go into a doctor's room and be victimized. We don't know if someone's going to give us a unconsensual pelvic exam, or we're going to be a test subject for a bunch of student doctors. Like that's not okay. So just knowing who to trust is so big. So that's why I wanted to talk to you, because especially for LGBT youth, especially for queer youth, as a pediatrician, you are a resource, you are a gift, and I'm just happy to know and be in community with you. That's why I'm here.
So I am so thankful that you're here because you're my first, yes, you are my first openly trans guest. And so
Oh,
thank you for coming into the space. Welcome, Jamie. That's my sister right there. You're my first openly trans guest. So tell us, walk us through in about a minute or so, what kind of trans are you? And I know the answer, but what does transgender mean?
hmm. Um, so for me, my trans identity is like has been a ride. It's been a journey. And
Yeah, because I heard you say you are non-binary. My first
yeah.
offspring is also non-binary. I do this because I have a non-binary child. That's why I
Yeah.
do this. But
Oh,
I would love to hear your what kind of trans are you, and what does transgender mean? I just want you to just break it down to the crumbs. We
yeah.
know we already kind of have an idea, but I was a guest speaker in a room in Clubhouse today, and the lady said she had no idea what gender identity versus gender expression meant. She said that to me, that she didn't know that there was any such thing. So I took a minute to explain to her. But of course, it doesn't get any better than someone who is living said life to pour into us what is transgender? What is it?
Hmm. Well, for a little bit of context, I also identify as non-binary, right? And my starting point to my, I would say, like overall trans journey has
Mm-hmm.
been understanding that I'm very fluid in my gender expression,
Mm-hmm.
the way that I am perceived. Sometimes it's more femme, sometimes it's more masculine. So gender expression is one way of saying like how the world perceives me, how I allow myself to be perceived by the world. But my gender identity is something a little closer to my heart, right? This is where I know inside myself I'm a trans masculine person.
Yes, gender identity is about how I feel in here, but more importantly, in here.
Yes.
My dad told me when I was a younger version of me, my dad said he thinks in Igbo. Igbo is my tribe. And I could not understand. I said, Daddy, how do you think in Igbo? He said he thinks in Igbo, converts it to English, and then responds to me in English. And I couldn't understand it until I said, wait, that's the same thing as someone who thinks like a different gender than what they were assigned when they were a baby. You just feel it. And my job is to just support it. And everybody that I know has had a friend that was maybe dating someone. You're like, I don't even know what to see in that man, but okay, I'll come to the wedding. That means you don't understand it, but you support it. So don't tell me you don't know what it's like to not understand something and support it. And because you're only using 10% of your brain, you don't know much. And so if somebody tells you that this is how they feel, you're not saying, oh, let me understand. Your knowledge base is not that much. It's only 10% of your brain. Imagine if you were using 50. And so the onus is on you to just say, okay, how can I best assist or affirm or be there for you? What do you need from me? Genuinely. And like you said, don't turn around and be the person who goes to out people when they're not ready to be outed. Don't be the person that's going to tell everyone, oh, guess what? I have a trans friend. Nobody wants to say, I have a black friend and I'm the black friend. No, I don't want to know that. Or we have a gay neighbor. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not the gay neighbor. I'm the good neighbor. I'm not a gay doctor. I'm the good doctor. So I don't see you as there's my heterosexual neighbor. No. You see how ridiculous that is? You feel
Right.
me? All right.
Yes.
So thank you so much for saying that gender identity is about your heart. It's about how you feel. Go ahead. Sorry, I took over.
Oh,
Mhm.
no, no, no. I'm happy that resonated. And it comes from a place of just not feeling when I was younger anywhere. Like I didn't grow up in an affirming household. That's why I think you're so amazing that you're just accepting your kids as they are. Like I've been estranged from my dad for gosh, over 3 or 4 years now. We just spoke for the first time on Father's Day. Yes, yes, really, truly. We hadn't talked in 4 years. I went on deployment. I lived my whole life. I PCS, went through a depression, went through a divorce, went through all my life. My parent was not there for me because of this. Because there was no space to accept. And that's very painful. That's so painful. Being an adult who knows that, like, well, this is the limit of my relationship with that parent because of this non-acceptance. And I was outed by my dad. I was outed by my dad as gay. And that had a whole series of consequences to it. And that's hard, right? That's why your message is so important, because more parents need to know that you can affirm your child and still have a relationship with them. That's all this is. That's all this is.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Sunshine Gypsy. Well, I think full transparency, I wasn't always the cheerleader for my own child. I wasn't always. And here's why. I was born and raised Catholic. And so everything I knew was that is all negative from the devil, and you know, you're going to hell, until I started asking my own questions. Wait, if my child is a reward and a gift from God, I want to hold on to my child.
Yeah.
But even at that, I didn't know how to help them. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I kept praying every day that as much as I don't know what to do, I don't inadvertently further traumatize them. But I did, because my child said that on this same show, the day that they were my guests, they said that. And I've known that because my son has been I keep saying son, but my child, my young adult, has been a guest on my podcast, which is called Suicide Pages. My young adult has been a guest on my Facebook show, which is called Black and Gay in America. My young adult has always joined me on Gail King last week. So my child has been there for me the whole time. I haven't always been there for them. But what I had to do was I had to first forgive myself.
Yes.
Because when you know better, you now need to do better. And so I forgave myself for being not the most present and most intentional parent that I could have been then. But today I need to move forward and show other parents that you can still not be fully there all from the beginning, but then be there now, today.
Yes.
Start now, here.
Yes.
This moment.
Cheers. Cheers to you. I got my tea here. There we go.
Yeah, honey, I got my tea too.
Oh, I mean, I think there's something so rich in what you just said about self-forgiveness, because I think parents, and I'm not a parent myself, right? I have chosen family, but I'm not a parent. But I do know that it's so hard to admit that you're wrong. It can be so hard to admit that you don't have all the answers. And as a parent, it's hard to admit that you don't even know what to call your child.
Look at me, yeah. And I struggle, and I'm so thankful that I don't give too much power to the energy of I struggle anymore. I don't use that. I used to say I struggled, but I don't struggle anymore, because what you focus on gets bigger. So I don't even entertain that I'm struggling anymore. I don't want to do that. I'm just working on it, and I'm achieving, and I'm winning. And so I might say they, them 12 times, and then the 13th time I say he. Okay, my child is also 23 years old. It's been a long time of saying he. But like everything in life, if you want to learn a brand new musical instrument, like this upright piano in front of me, you start learning the keys. And one day you be John Legend, but you didn't become John Legend before, learning the keys. So I'm every single day correcting myself. And when I'm talking to people on the phone, I use they, them as much as I can for them, even if I don't know their own pronouns, because I now know the more I use they, them, the easier my brain is going to offer me they, them for my own most important person, which is my child. So that's what works for me. And unless you tell me your pronouns, I'm going with they, them. And I found out that that's actually better, because I don't want to mispronounce anybody. I don't want to do that on purpose. I don't want to do that in my sleep. I don't want to do it. So thank you so much for bringing this trans energy into the room, because you're my first trans guest, and I love it. My child is a non-binary, but so I've had non-binary, but I haven't had trans, which to me, I feel, of course, as you know, there are two different department altogether in the same, you know, I don't know, building.
Spectrum.
Yes, you said yeah.
It's like,
And I use Spectrum until they correct me and say, well, mom, you know, Spectrum brings in, you know, autism. And I say, yeah, because I'm a physician. So of course, naturally, Spectrum is my go-to. But now I just say community, and then it has that, you know, same effect, maybe even better, because now there's that togetherness, there's a unity. We're coming into unity, so we're a community, and I love that. But thank you for even daring to come and talk about this. This is so powerful, so important to me. So now, to the next thing I want to ask you is, we gotta face that elephant in the room. So, do you feel that you were accepted coming? And I know you already kind of alluded to it a little bit. Do you feel like you were accepted when you were coming out? Or better still, tell us your coming out story, whichever one you feel is easier.
oh, well, thank you for the invitation. I'll start by saying that I think coming out doesn't stop. And I don't have one coming out story. I think my earliest coming out was when I was in second grade and I knew I was bisexual because I looked it up in the dictionary and went, oh, I think that makes sense.
Well, you know, I want to stop there just because I need people to hear when I say to you that the concept of sexuality is fluidity. One, two, a child who is 4, between the ages of 3 and 5, actually. Well, the book says as low as 18 and as high as 7. That's the bell-shaped curve. Your child already knows their sexuality between as low as 18 months and as high as 7. Just because they don't tell you, or because they tell you at 17 or 27, doesn't mean that that's when they found out. So am I right in that regard?
Yes, and I would also add in there that children between like 3 and 5 also understand their gender identity.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the next thing. Yeah, sexuality is actually, I think I misspoke. Sexuality is by the age of 9 to 11. The child already knows. Sorry, it was gender that I meant. 18 months to 3 years peak, and then 5 years is this gender. And because I say that because when you ask a cisgendered boy, are you a boy or a girl? They're going to tell you at the age of 2 that they're a boy if they can speak. So think about that as you now insert a transgendered human into that equation. And so you might now understand if your child says at the age of 6, Mom, I really want to have my hair cut and I want my name to be changed to Alex because I feel like I'm a boy. I want you to know that just because they're telling you at the age of 6 doesn't mean that they knew at the age of 6. That's what I meant to say was the gender. The sexuality is a little bit older. But my question to you is, what are your thoughts about you, not you, my guest, but you as a person watching me? What are your thoughts about the ability of your child to know what they are and think and recognize what they are? If they can recognize that they are afraid at the age of 2, or that they have love at the age of 3, or whatever else, then I want you to know that your child, that same child, knows that they're a boy or a girl or in the wrong body or whatever at that age too. Because one of the biggest questions I get is, oh, are they too young? Too young for what? If that was a cisgendered child, would you ask me that question? All right.
But that double standard comes up. That double standard comes
Never
up.
fails. Never fails.
Yeah.
So your coming out story is so critical because a lot of people say that all the time, that they have to come out multiple times. So tell us about the first one.
So the first one was when I was very young, right? I was second grade, looking up things in the dictionary and finding the word bisexual and just knowing that that was me. And then I didn't really have many like reasons to come out to my peers or otherwise when I was in middle school and high school. Part of that was shyness. Part of that is also gender dysphoria. I still felt very awkward. I still felt like I wasn't a good girl. I wasn't able to be comfortable being a girl. And it was just kind of strange. So I kept parts of me to myself, right? And as I got older, And I started to realize, I think a really big coming out part was when I decided to come out as genderqueer and use they them pronouns while in the military. So that was, gosh, 6 years ago. I was out and I was the only non-binary person, and it's very lonely. It's very lonely to be the only person who has different pronouns. It's very lonely to be the only person who has to re-explain themselves every single time they go to a new command, they go to a new workplace, they meet someone, right? Um, but at the same time, I found a lot of acceptance, and I think kind of to your point, Dr. Lulu, like where do I find acceptance? I find acceptance where people are willing to listen.
Mm.
I've talked to people who've said like homophobic or transphobic things before, and sometimes we can come to an agreement. Sometimes they go, you know what, I was wrong. Like, I'm sorry I said that. Sometimes it's years later. I had a person I once worked for, and he's like, I was just glad that you had that conversation with me.
Mm.
And sometimes that affirmation takes a long time, and oftentimes that affirmation is it's a gamble, right? Like I
Mm.
don't always know if someone's safe to come out to. But just like you have the pride flags in the corner, the trans flag in the corner, right? That you're open about being an ally, that you're open about your queerness. Those are like such affirming signals. And um, yeah, I guess it's just finding affirmation where we can. And I'm lucky to be in a place. I live in Long Beach right now. Long Beach has a really strong queer community. I have a lot of great friends. I have a lot of chosen family, and that's part of coming out, right? Being able to come out means being a that you're able to find people. You can be a beacon. You can attract others who are able to see you for who you are. Um, and that's why I come out. And I think I've been very visibly, vocally out. And part of that is because of privilege. I can leverage privilege of race, class, and even expression, right? That it's sometimes like, I don't know, people find it like, oh, okay, I understand. I can grasp maybe this non-binary thing because of how I look. But if I can leverage it, I will. And hopefully that opens the door a little wider for someone else.
That is so powerful. Welcome to the party, Dan Run, 890, Alaska 529, Cherry Churro, S. Laurent, and Somatic Therapy, Courtney E. Ram, and Shimi Schlonger. You can't sit with us. I like that. Sunshine Gypsy, welcome to the party. If you can hear my voice, welcome to the party. I'm going to reset the space because I can. So the show is called The Pride Corner, that corner right there of my living room. My name is Dr. Lulu. I'm a pediatrician, but I'm retiring to become a parent-trician, and just work with parents of queer kids as a coach, as a life coach. I'm certified, recently certified as a life coach, but also I'm an author and a speaker and everything else in between. Most importantly, though, I'm a mother of a non-binary young adult. And so my space that I'm occupying is that of a bisexual mother of a young adult who is also non-binary. And so we're talking to queers, our coming out stories and more. We're talking to family members, we're talking to allies, and maybe even a couple of homophobes. Why not? To add to the color. Okay, so if you can hear my voice, please take a second to invite your friends. Tap the arrow at the bottom corner, the bottom right of your screen, and invite a few of your friends so we can all join. I mean, my guest today, whose pronouns are so unique. I love that because it's like you're here and you're there, and you know what? And you should be everywhere if you want to. So, are you still active duty?
No, I left the military in 2019.
All right, I left in 2016, but yeah, fantastic. That's good to know. And so we're going on to keep talking. So, do you feel like you were accepted by the most important people in your circle,
Mm.
your family of birth versus your chosen family? Do you feel like you were accepted?
So I will just start by saying I have a lot of difficulty with my family of origin. And
No.
I'll kind of explain why. So I mentioned a little earlier that I had an estrangement with my father,
Yes.
right? So my father outed me, they rejected me, and we didn't talk for literally years, years. Um, and that was because of a lack of both empathy and understanding. They didn't know what to do with me. So I was removed from the family. I got uninvited to holidays. I got uninvited to family events. I wasn't part of the family anymore. And that happens, especially for trans folks. That's so painful to receive a notice from your mom saying, you know, maybe it's better if you don't come.
Oh my God. I thought my ex-husband was bad in the sense that they basically, I wouldn't say they excommunicated their child, because my eldest is like, you know what, you're over there and you're going to stay there, and you know, you're nothing to me now as an adult. But as a child, one of the things that my ex-husband made very clear was that I don't have a gay son. And I was like, what?
It's like
Because of course, like I said, we knew, we've been known. Maybe I didn't say it in this show, but I've been known that my child
yeah.
was gay way back. I just found out about the non-binary, and I fought it a little bit. I was like, what is that? Mainly because I just didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it. But when they came in my show, they were like, Mom, sometimes I feel more feminine, sometimes I feel, you know, more masculine, and sometimes I don't feel whatever gender. And so, but it took a head-to-head and almost a threat, like, Mom, if you don't want to be part of this, then I'm just going to go solo kind of thing, and it's not about you. And you know, and I was like, okay, you're right, you're very right, you know, and I'm so sorry, and you know, I'm going to learn, and I'm going to do my very best, and the rest is history. I don't even know where to begin with you.
And I wish I could say that this isn't just me. This
I
is
know. Oh, I know that. Of
I've
course.
had this experience, and it's so painful. Um, and I will say that, so even within my family of origin, um, my mom had a different type of understanding because she's Chinese, and she also understands that people have both masculine and feminine energy. She understands that there's a balance, there's yin and yang. And for
Mm.
her culturally, it was a lot easier to explain non-binary because she knows that the binary doesn't exist.
Yes.
It's two ends that don't necessarily matter. It's a mix, it's a combination, and it's up to the person to determine what that mix is. Um, so there's some acceptance there, but pronouns are still difficult because English is her second language, and she mispronounces
Mm.
everybody, but she still has a difficult time with mine. Um, and then I have a brother as well, and he accepts me, he loves me, but he thinks it's strange that I ask people to address me differently, right? So part of me is still having a difficult time, I'd say, fitting in with my family. And that's hard. That's just hard. But at the same time, I do have a lot of really wonderful chosen family. I do have a lot of people who, you know, give me a lot of love and support. There's people who I can ask for help. There's people who I can just say that I'm hurting and they'll hear me. And that's really valuable because for so many people, we when we get rejected from our families like that, it's just the end. It just feels like there's nothing else, right? It hurts. It hurts. It hurts a lot.
That part of the rejection, and I had a guest who said for most of her 20s or all of her 20s, she lived under a bridge. And
Mm,
so for those who don't know, 33% of homeless people, of homeless youth, are in the LGBTQ plus community. 42% of LGBTQ plus youth seriously considered or attempted suicide in the last 12 months. And yes, my talk is triggering. My
mm,
show is triggering. I don't sugarcoat nothing.
mm.
I don't need to. I'm too grown for that. So if you can't handle it, there's the door. Okay, because I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, because, like I said, for some people, it is life and death for them. And so you don't get to tell me that I can't say suicide. You don't get to. You don't get to because for the child, I'm not able to get to them. But you as the adult, I can get to you. And if this is triggering, you should ask yourself why. Why do you think it's triggering? And we have every reason under the sun except the real reason, love, right? If love is truly unconditional, then you have no business telling me that God is not love, and because of God, then you're not going to love your child. All that bullshit that is not true. Okay? Because there was a video that went viral on social media on Friday about the little kid, the little black boy. I don't know if you saw that. Who's about 5 or 6 adult family members were yelling obscenities at him, cut his hair back to this point, stopped it right there, and carved the word gay on his hair. And they were talking junk to him because I guess he's effeminate, you know. And they claim to come from a place of Christianity. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Fuck that so hard if that's your reason. Okay? Any kind of religion that tells you to do that to your child, fuck it twice. Because that's not true. Because if you know from whence a child comes, as a pediatrician, I've watched people whose kids were born stillbirth. I've watched people whose kids were born and died within hours. And I've watched people whose kids were born and happy and healthy and all of that. So don't tell me you don't have a right to treat your child that way. You can't. And the fact that it was black on black is what kills me. Because if that had been a white family doing that to a black child, you would have heard about it by now. All the black people have taken up arms. So why is it okay for us to do this to ourselves? Or Asian, whatever. Hispanic. I don't care. Why is it okay? Because it's a child. And I wrote on my page one time, I said, why do we look down at the child who is a victim of assault and look away from the adult who is the perpetrator? Why are we doing that? Why is it okay for the Catholic priest to sodomize a child? And all we do is transfer him to another church. And then tell the girl, oh, what were you wearing? Or maybe you were fast. Really? Sorry. The Lulu don't play that. And so welcome to the show, Bottles for Buddies. Oh, wow. You have some cool friends, all kinds of names. Welcome. So the show is called The Pride Corner, that corner right there. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the MOMATRICIAN. I am a board certified pediatrician and I'm a mom of a non-binary young adult. And we're here today talking to another human who has been nice enough to share some deep stuff that they've been going through. And if you missed it from the beginning, press rewind and watch it again, because I'm not even going to bother repeating it. So as we close out, as we're in the last quarter of the show, can you tell us really quick, what would you say to a parent? Well, actually, before you say that, before you answer that, how has not being fully accepted by your family, how has that played into the person that you are today, the adult that you are today? How has that played into that?
Well, I guess just to start by putting in a little bit of personal context with some of what you brought up about the risk, right? What happens when parents of LGBT youth fail to accept their child, fail to provide an affirming household, fail to parent their child in a way that's affirming and supportive? I was housing unstable for a while. Actually, right when I got out of the military, I was housing unstable for almost 6 months. And that was hard, right? I couldn't go back home. I wasn't allowed, right? I haven't stepped foot in my home in years, right? So that's something that happens, right? I went through a suicidal depression. We're using the word suicide, right?
I was waiting for you to say that. I was going to ask you if you were ever suicidal, because again, I have a podcast that's called Suicide Pages. And if you can hear my voice, please type that in the comment section. My podcast is called Suicide Pages with Dr. Lulu. There are pages of stories, 200 or more stories of human beings sharing their journey. You should check it out. I'm going to retire that podcast and upload these ones now as my new podcast. But they're going to remain in outer space, you know, because it's people's stories. Wow. Of course you struggle with that. Of course you struggle with that. Because when you look at yourself in the mirror, the person looking back at you is like, your parents don't even want you. Why would you even want yourself?
And I think layered on top of that, yeah, I've struggled with mental health, right? And I can say that these are also impacts of lack of family support. But I think I want to say that like right now I'm happy with who I am, right? In this moment, I'm alive. In this moment, I feel good.
Mm.
And as hard as that is to not have that support, I know that because I had to reparent myself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm that much more equipped to support myself and rely on myself when I need that type of support. And that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do because there's also a lot of folks who feel resentment, who just wish like all of my problems would be gone if I had that growing up. And to a certain extent, I can't blame that. I felt that way before too, right? Like
Not
I could.
only that, not only that, my own young adults, when they were on this show, said, I don't believe in the struggle just for the sake of the struggle.
Right.
Because there are other kids who are LGBT whose parents support them. And so if you as a parent cannot support your child, you should rethink parenting, period. Because you don't get to say, well, God, I only want the child who's got long hair, blue eyes, blonde hair, gay, not gay, an artist and a musician, and you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. You don't get to choose that. So that's so powerful. Welcome to the party at Tabla and sinners.
Dylan, hey Dylan.
I am dying here today trying to say all the names. But yes, you don't get to choose. It's not a buffet. Oh, I want the kid that has no drama whatsoever. You don't get to pick that. So they were like, you need to reconsider your whole concept of being a parent. Maybe you shouldn't be a parent. And that's okay. Because what I saw, I didn't watch the video, but what I was told that happened on that video on Friday should never happen. Should never, ever happen. Because there are kids who come out and their parents are affirming.
Right. And it's, I think, important just to name, and I think I just want to, yeah, just to name it, right? Like you, whoever's watching, you deserve to be seen, you deserve to be understood, and you deserve to be loved. And those three things are just things that you deserve for being alive, that you don't have to prove anything, you don't have to be anything else. There's no conditions to be seen, understood, and loved, right? Those are things
Hmm.
you deserve. It's a birthright.
It's a birthright
It's a
because
birthright.
you're human. And one of the things I like to say is, parents, you should see your child as an equal human,
Mm-hmm.
as an equal human. Listen, let me tell you something. In Igbo land, I don't know how to say it fully, but I think it's Oko Hatocha Ocheribe or something. I don't know. I don't know how to say it fully, but it's talking about how when you become an adult, you now wait for your child. If that makes any sense. So your child is one day going to become an adult, is what they're saying. You're not going to be the only one that's an adult. One
Right.
day, your child is going to grow up. And everything that you think you know, your child is possibly going to know that and then some. And that's why I love the Gen Zers. They're so open, they're so accepting. And I hope they all stay that way. Because it's like, okay, so you're non-binary. Okay, great. So what's for dinner? Where you want to hang out today? Not, oh my God, you're non-binary. What are my neighbors going to say? What's the church going to say? What are the people going to say? What do you mean you're non-binary? Can you not tell anybody that you're non-binary? Can you just, I don't know what, really? So welcome Africa Mental Health Matters. My girl, how are you doing? Long time no see. So the show is called The Pride Corner, our coming out stories and more. And I'm talking to people in the LGBTQ plus space. My name is Dr. Lulu. I am a pediatrician turned parent coach, coaching parents of queer kids because somebody has to. Because in the youth suicide prevention arena, African American kids age 5 through 12 are twice as likely as their white counterparts to die by suicide. You tell me why when you figure it out. I already know why. Because non-binary and trans youth lead the pack in suicide amongst these kids, because 87% of kids, of LGBTQ kids who live in a gender affirming environment, reported less suicidal ideation. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of humans. And I don't have all the numbers, but it should be somewhere on my page. Otherwise, go to the Trevor Project. There are 2021 numbers. These are all the numbers. I thought I posted on my page, but it's not. It's on my Facebook page for sure. And I'm going to post that on my IG when I get done with this, because we need to look at these numbers and see that these are real human beings behind these numbers, real hearts beating. And so before I let you go, what would you say to a parent who is basically juxtaposed with your own parents, having a hard time accepting their beautiful child for who they are, for what they are, not what they choose, because it's not a choice, for what they are, just the way they are? What would you say?
It's a really good question. I think it comes down to, do you want to have a relationship with your child that continues? And do you want to help keep your child alive?
They're alive.
Because you can reject them. You can push them away. You can tell them to stop. You can make them try to control, assert that kind of power over, and it hurts. It drives people to suicide.
To jump, yes.
Repercussions. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, do you want your child to live? Do you want to support them through their life? Do you want to have a relationship with them that can continue and grow? And I think that's the best I can offer.
And I think some parents might not understand that because it's not natural for you to disown your child, you actually also struggle because of that decision.
Yes.
You will also struggle with mental health challenges because of the cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
You're doing something that your brain is telling you should not do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's racism or homophobia. Oh, I don't have a child. I don't want a gay child. Do you want a gun child?
Mm-hmm.
G-O-N-E, gun child? Whether they die by suicide or whether they completely just leave home, become homeless, God knows what happens to them, or just disown you as a parent. You see, parents don't realize that kids can also disown you. You're not the only one that can do that. And as a today, my own offspring, my first young adult human child, is completely like, I don't want to know anything about him. He's not my father. I don't have anything to do with him. And he didn't create that. I mean, he created that. His father created that. And today his father, or rather their father, wants to come into the picture. And now it's like it's too late. We have a young adult now. And I'm not going to help you with that. Because when they were 12, I was the parent that stayed. I was the parent that took all of the bullshit insults from all of my friends. How dare you leave an abusive spouse? Really? Well, I believe he's single right now. Why don't you go marry him or send your sister his way? Like, seriously. Ultimately, it's your loss. Because your child can thrive with or without you. It might be difficult for them, but by George, they will thrive. Now, maybe some of them will lose to suicide, but enough of them thrive like you. And then ultimately now it becomes the hunter becomes the hunted.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This has been so, so good. So for the last 5 minutes, where can the viewers find you? Where can they follow you? Tell us all your stuff. And if you're watching me, if you can hear my voice, please follow me also. The show is called The Pride Corner, our coming out stories and more. If you are interested in being interviewed in my show, just send me a DM. It's as simple as that. And I'll send you the link, and they will tell you how easy it was. And all you gotta do is just show up here at 1 p.m. Central every day, and I'll be here with my fine self, right? Yes!
Well, I wanted to say, first of all, thank you Dr. Lulu, for having me on your show. I had a wonderful time talking with you, and it's just so wonderful to know that you're out there doing this work. Places that folks can find me, my social media is at Your Gay Dance Teacher. I also teach self-defense, so if anyone is interested in learning self-defense, I teach a introductory webinar every Monday at 4. Why? Because trans people need affirming spaces to learn how to protect ourselves. We need it. We need it.
And I think that's how we met. We met on Clubhouse.
Yes.
When I heard you say that, and I was like, I want you on my show. I want you on my show. So yeah, we need to. I mean, there's so much, look, you're getting so much love. There's so much hatred directed at trans and non-binary humans. I'm not trans, but as an ally for my child and as a member of the community, we need to learn. So please drop the link, or I don't know, DM me the link or something so I can include it in my write-up when I do the write-up for this show. Because people need to find you. That's the whole idea. You spent your 1 hour precious time today, and then we could go deeper, because I wanted to really know, a little bit more about how you came over the hump. Because that self-hatred piece is so deep, it's so real. Parents don't realize that you are the most important person in your child's life. You are the first relationship your child has. So all relationships after you are based on the one with you. Parents, that sounds like, Dr. Lulu, you're so smart. Your relationship with your child is the very first relationship they have ever. You hold the 4 aces as a parent, but not for too long, because your child can walk away and not look back like my own child did. And guess what? I'm like, go, go, go. I'm all there for that. Take a front seat, take 2. So I can stretch my legs and show off my shoes.
Every time you do that, it makes me smile.
Oh my goodness, I have had so much fun doing this. We got 2 minutes on the clock. Tell the folks where they can find you. Do you have a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a TikTok, what?
So I keep it pretty simple on social media, partly because I keep getting shadow banned for being trans. So fun facts about being non-binary and trans, you do get shadow banned quite often by transphobic algorithms. But still here, still gay, still trans. So I'm at Your Gay Dance Teacher. You can find me there. And if you want to catch me for teaching, like I said, every Monday at 4, I teach a introductory webinar. And just for folks to know, yeah, self-defense is also about self-care. So that's really what I focus on is breathing exercises and nervous system regulation, so we can heal from trauma while learning to protect ourselves. Because I don't want anyone to have that unresolved healing, or unresolved pain that turns into harm, right? We don't want to perpetuate harm from our own woundedness. So that's what the space is about as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing that work. So powerful, so needed. As for me, myself, and I, all 3 of us, we will see you on the Gail King Show on Friday morning at 8 a.m. Okay, honey? Yes! It's going to be televised, y'all. Yes, I mean, it's going to be aired, rather. So I cannot wait for all of the fanfare that's going to come with that, because we need to be all up in there in our spaces. Yes. And just take up space and have no apologies whatsoever. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the MOMATRICIAN.